Welcome back to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. On today's episode, we sound the alarm on the unholy alliance between the recreational musician and our AI overlords. Stay tuned.
I think asking for self-awareness from most people is asking an awful lot. It's almost like, damn it, fish, why can't you walk on land? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
It takes hard work.
Yes, and ironically, self-awareness. Which is not as easy to come by as you might think.
So it's a circular thing.
Firing squad that way.
It's just, if you're playing in a friend band or a dad band, or if you're...
By the way, the difference between if you're in a friend band, you could be pretty much any age. If you're a dad band, you have to be like over the age of, let's say, 40.
Right.
Over 40. Yeah, 40 to 65. Let's say that's the dad band range. You know what I mean?
So like if you're in a cover band that's just playing bars and clubs, if you're not getting serious corporate work...
Yep. Or weddings, which ironically, that's their very lucrative path. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're, and this is like, like high-end weddings where you're getting paid like $5, $6, $7 grand.
Yeah. Well, more like 10.
Right.
Wedding, you know what I mean? For most 10 wedding, and same thing.
Seriously.
Either that, they pay a DJ like $6 grand or something, like come out and DJ or some nonsense like that. But you have to be like so good. It's got to be so polished. Like, and that's got to be what your gig is. You have to come and book 3 weddings a month or something. You know what I mean?
And when you get to that level, then you can talk to people as if you're running a serious business enterprise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So if you're just playing bars and clubs around town, you're not running a serious business enterprise.
You're playing a fun club band.
Yeah, you're just a cover band that plays in clubs, and you're just like every other cover band that diluted that market down to where, like,
Well, we talked about this before. Like, that market's so like the shrinking pool anyway.
The really good players like are not out there doing that.
No, not at all. I mean, you could argue, and this is actually tied right into our podcast topic today. Like, where is the money if you're a great musician? It's really going away, man. There's the avenues upon which to make like real money, even if you're a virtuoso musician, are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There's like a handful of high-level touring acts that you could be like a sideman for. Mostly in the country or like the classic rock world. You know what I mean? Most like modern-ish, like say metal bands and heavy metal bands and prog bands that came out, let's say, since 2005 or something like that.
Yeah.
Those guys have never gotten big enough to get outside maybe the theater level is probably where they top out. You know what I mean?
Which is still, which is
great, but like they're not going to be able to, you're not going to have a virtuoso guy that are just paying like this hired gun, all this cash to come and play. They're going to have somebody they know come and play that gig. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm talking about like, getting a gig with like Rick Springfield or something like that, or so you can go play, Sheds or something, and that for.
Or like with Rick Springfield, you'd be playing it at the casino and
but that's
kind of
still
stuff,
like
right?
3,000-4,000 seat places, but that's enough. And you'll go do a run of 20 dates or something with them,
right?
Then you got to jump on some other
and just do weekends and stuff, So fly out for weekends,
So the idea of that, even as an option, I mean, it's so funny how much things have changed since back when we were kids. Because back when we were kids, it was like a big deal. Like, man, you're playing covers every weekend at the whatever bar, whatever club, and that was you can make some decent money doing that because they gave you a piece of the door and you could sell merch and stuff like that. There's like the original bands have always been kind of I wouldn't say like laughed at, but like no one's really looked at that as a real money making unless you get a record deal. That's the only way. But then that's also not really a thing that exists anymore.
Yeah.
So this is so sunny and positive.
I know. Well, and to be clear, to be clear, I think it's great. Get together with your friends and form a band and go play some covers and stuff. Just don't talk like you're a serious music professional.
Yeah.
That part is what rubs me, the lack of self-awareness. So,
but like I said, it's very hard to ask self-awareness from humans.
I go over to, my buddy's like birthday thing. Right. And,
is it the birthday that you're against primarily, or is it it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
How dare you celebrate the
and the drummer in the last cover band I played in is, my other buddy finally quit that band. Cheers to him. Who was he was the one person I respected musically. I respect everyone personally, but musically speaking, like, my buddy finally left the band. So the dude, the drummer of this band, the one who like didn't know how to count, right? like I look over at him and I'd be mouthing, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? We're playing Just What I Needed by the Cars, right? Okay. Starts on the 4, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1.
In other words,
right. Yeah. So I'd be mouthing the number 4, and he'd be looking back at me mouthing
1.
Yeah, that literally happened, man. It's like, dude. During a rehearsal,
maybe he thinks it's in 5/4 and he thinks it's a prog song.
I know, dude. Yeah. There was a Journey song that we were playing. I think it was Any Way You Want It.
Yep.
And the band just could not figure out when to end the song. And and there was a rehearsal where I'm like, look, just after the end of the last chorus, we're going to count 8 measures and then out.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't fucking do it. I shit you not, dude.
They couldn't count. In other words,
no. So this is the only time I've ever done this in a rehearsal. I took my guitar off and set it on the amplifier. And this is before I quit smoking. I told him, look, you guys figure it the fuck out. I'm going to go in the backyard and have a cigarette. When I come back, maybe we can all, resolve together.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, that's a very high bar.
Right.
Who knows how long that's going to be.
So I bump into this guy at this birthday party thing, and he's like, yeah, since the keyboard player left, we hired a new keyboard player, and then we had to fire him, and then he's using all this language like I hired and fired people.
Yeah.
Dude, he didn't hire or fire
no
shit. Yeah. It's just, I mean,
but you know what though? This is something it's almost like people who have a competitive baseball league they play in or something like that. It's the same sort of thing. Yeah, it's just like it makes them feel good. And honestly,
I am the bat dad.
You could argue that there's no harm done. It's like if that makes someone feel better, they have a job that they maybe don't love, and they're just doing this thing, and this makes them feel like they've got an outlet creatively. What's the harm?
Yeah, I guess.
I
don't know.
To you, but it's like which I know is real. But
maybe this is where I just need the therapy session. So Scott, why does that bother me so much?
I think because you take pride in being a professional musician, and you don't think people who have half the skill or a quarter of the skill you have go around talking like they've earned it. I think that's probably what it is. You know what I mean?
Please go on.
Not to name it too directly, but I feel like that's,
flattery will get you everywhere.
But dude,
please go on.
At the top of the Billboard charts, there's people who have almost no musical skill at the top of the Billboard charts. You know what I mean? So it's at the end of the day, that's hip as I mean, the idea of.
But at least those people at the top of the Billboard charts are part of a legitimate business enterprise.
Well, they're also super hot chicks usually. It's like right. You know what I mean? It's like at least their skill is like I'm super hot for at least the next 20 10
right.
years,
They're not 9 to 5. Drummer who got offended because I suggested they take lessons.
Yeah, exactly. But they at least had the responsibility of being super hot and showing up to being, photographed whenever they're told to. And then, and then
right.
pretending like they're singing when they, are given the microphone. That kind of,
Yeah.
But
so anyway,
the idea of having to be like a high level musician to be a professional, that kind of died, I would say, in the mid '90s, along with the grunge apocalypse. I think that all kind of came along because before that, I
think it died before then. Like as soon as like DJing became convenient.
But it was still living. It was still like it wasn't thriving, but it was still living into the early '90s. There was that there was that expectation if you're a pro musician, you're a real player. There was a high bar.
Yeah. No, I was thinking more about like hey, we're the house band at the Oasis.
Oh,
we play there every weekend.
But even then, the bar because everything that preceded that was really good bands. If you were playing in a band, you were like a legitimately good player. You couldn't just be some whoever.
Yeah, you just couldn't be a hack.
Things hadn't been like watered down to the point where just like anybody who can hold 3 chords can play in a band. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I think grunge made that okay. I think grunge's like, you don't have to be good. And everyone's like, yeah, you can totally suck. Who cares?
Well, and I think technology is also like changes in radio formats
and stuff. Yeah, it's like once technology.
The popularization of hip hop.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a hater on hip hop. It's just it's cheap to make.
Yeah,
and then you can,
and you don't actually have to have
DJ
15 years of practicing and skill to go do that either. You don't have to sit in woodshed in your bedroom for freaking 10 years before you're ready to go play. You know what I mean? That's I think
so. I just if it just rubs me the wrong way when this stuff. Because I mean, I don't like. It is okay if you get. I mean, I think more people in the world should be making sounds with blocks of wood and strings. I think the world's a better place when everyone's doing that as compared to other pastimes and hobbies that are inferior, in my opinion.
Yeah, but inferior. I mean, when it comes to hobbies and stuff, look, everyone's got their own life to live. Just whatever it is that makes you even 1 degree happier.
Yeah,
than the other thing is fine. You know what I mean?
And it's peaceful. It's just. But anyway, so just if you're in a friend band, just don't talk to me like you're hiring and like just don't talk to me like you're hot shit.
Would you rather just say don't talk to me?
Yeah, kind of. Just I don't want to hear about it. Yeah,
exactly. Just stop. Like stop. Don't even step my way. That's just fine.
Yeah, there you go. That's kind of good. I mean,
On that bleak starting note, let's talk about.
It's not bleak. It's just
No, it is because where we're going is very bleak. We're going to the heart of darkness today.
Oh,
because there's some stuff that's come to my attention recently that's really, really horrible.
Oh yeah, well, so this is kind of associated.
Okay.
Right. So there's a phenomenon of which I'm aware.
Okay. Which I'm now aware tangentially because Ryan's aware.
Tangentially, so, yes. Yeah. Where so a new trend that I don't know. So I think the trend is some of these people
that have so horrible, by the way.
I know. I'm really choosing my words carefully.
Yeah.
So there's a phenomenon where, these same people who would be playing like covers in these like, friend bands, right? The people who are willing to play for, 2 or 3 hours for $50 or free, right?
Yeah,
the ones, the person who is like, I just want to, I'll play the gig for free because I just want to play.
Yeah.
Right. So the person for whom the gig is not work.
Yeah. I can't imagine why the bands aren't getting paid.
I know. Shocking, right? I
don't understand how that works. But
I mean, well, so, okay, here's the rub. Like, you would hope that since those bands, like, don't have the overall highest quality musicianship, that, like, a band that commanded more money, that had great musicianship, would be out there playing.
Well, the difference is,
but no one cares.
From the guy who owns the bar or the club, they don't care as long as people come and drink. It doesn't matter,
right? So basically,
quality music is not even a concern,
right? Yeah. So if you bring like 20 of your friends to show up at the bar, then it's just the bar's your clubhouse for the night, and those
alcohol
people,
says the same to the person selling it.
I know. Yep. Anyway, so the phenomenon is so that particular musician generates a bunch of songs via AI.
Okay, that style of musician you're talking about. Yep.
And entering prompts, right? So and then
AI kicks out the song.
And then AI kicks out the song in the style of like whatever your favorite bands are, or whatever. And then you assemble a band to learn those songs as if you were learning covers.
Yes.
In the hopes of going out and like performing.
Is this under the conceit that this is an original band?
Yes.
Oh wow. That's what's crazy to me.
It absolutely is. Yes.
That's this. Yeah.
So it's under the conceit that entering prompts into like Suno is just as valid as like sitting down with your musical tool
and writing songs
and and like getting the sound in your head out into the world. Right. It's just, it's so
this does is it allows people who don't have any kind of creativity whatsoever to like take on the patina that they have creativity.
Well, and here's what's
hey man, I entered the prompt.
Yeah, and here's what's even more disappointing. Like in my personal experience with this phenomenon, the prime mover, I think, does have the ability to write a song or could grow that. I think highly of this person, and so I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah. But that being said, not everyone has that kind of follow through. You know what I mean? That like on the same, because sometimes writing and this is, I'm going to broaden this out. Like in the arts, it's not a direct line from the germ of the idea to the finished product. There's usually a lot of little twists and turns, and you have to rely on skill and intuition and sort of like try a bunch of different blind alleys that don't work before you find one that does. And then that's part of the process.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, like you're living your life like throughout this process, and so inspiration is going to influence the final product in a whole variety of ways.
Yeah. But that's why it's art. It's basically a reflection of the moment in time that human's creating the art. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it beautiful. It's not the end result necessarily, because that's going to be what it's going to be, but it's the whole process by which it happens. Yeah. The AI just circumvents. You know what I mean?
This is kind of, I think, associated, but I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson on a podcast say something. I think it was on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast, because we always like to give credit to our fellow podcasters out there.
Like, he needs the help, man. Bill Maher.
Shout out to Bill Maher. Hopefully
by a thread, man.
I hope we can
Neil deGrasse Tyson too, man. I think he's living on the streets in New York.
I'd love to have either of those guys on our podcast. That would be awesome. So Tyson said something to the effect that, like, comparing like science to art, he says, you know what, like, if Albert Einstein hadn't discovered E equals MC squared, someone else would have discovered it because it's, science is the observation of reality, right? And testing hypotheses and all that, right?
Sometimes someone just has like an insight that's at the right time, right place. You know what I mean? And that's how that kind of thing happens.
Right. Or it's just like how, like Marconi develops like the radio, but it was also developed by other inventors in other parts of the world that had no contact because, radio waves are radio waves.
Going culinary, like noodles. Noodles were developed in China and Italy right around the same time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they're like two completely different cultures, but coming to the same conclusion at the same time.
Wow.
Without influencing each other, which is crazy. Some ideas just happen.
Man, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
That's pretty crazy.
Dude, I learned something today.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And it's delicious.
That's great. And, right.
Both
and,
chow mein and spaghetti.
Yes, and then your body turns all the sugars into fat, and then you get fucking fat.
Well,
thanks, pasta.
You do need carbohydrates, my friend. That is part of what it is. That's part of a healthy diet.
I've reintroduced some carbohydrates to my diet now that I've shed like a whole human's worth
the human
of
machine
body
is designed
mass.
to work on not just animal protein and fat as the thing that burns. It's also carbohydrates are literally designed exactly to be something that you burn for energy.
Animal protein and fat.
Oh man, I was gonna bring you a whole thing from Chef Unity of nothing but animal protein and fat. It's a big bowl of here you go, sir.
Do you know what? So we had our Spotlight Series kickoff meeting last night, which was very well attended.
Very cool.
We've got a lot of drummers this round. This is the Skips Music educational program where we put young people into bands, and you get a coach and you learn some cover songs.
It sounds like there's a lot of self-esteem issues going on in that generation. My God,
a lot of drummers.
Why makes me drummers?
Man, I don't know how it's great because that means we have the potential to field more bands.
That's true.
Right. Usually the hang up is that we've got like a ton of guitar players and we've got like and I'm asking drummers to play in two bands.
Yeah.
No, this time we've got like 7 drummers.
That's great. Yeah.
It's wild. So
I'm not going to advocate there should be more drummers, but like that being said, it's good.
But now I got to go out there. We've got to go out there and find like at least 6 or 5 or 6 more singers and and bass players, right? Which
God, any bad guitar player is a bass player, so it's like
right. Well, I mean, I'll just grab some people off the street.
Exactly. Yeah, you
just
do.
random. Come on in.
Yeah, homeless Joe, come on in. Here's the bass in your hand. You're gonna be a now bass player.
Hey, Boxcar Willie.
Yeah, exactly. You are more than qualified. Trust me.
Right. I'll just walk over to In-N-Out Burger and just be like,
hey. Lucky Strikes. You know what I mean? It's like
pack of Pall Malls. Just the gnarliest cigarette.
He'll talk about how he had to fire the keyboardist for his band and stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway.
No, but the idea though of people like prompting AI to write their songs for them and then learning those songs like covers and going and playing in an original band is so horrific on every level.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like no place you can look that isn't terrible. It's like just staring into the abyss, like the face of the abyss.
Like why would you sell yourself short like that? Like I don't get it.
A lot of people don't believe in themselves, dude. A lot of people think they can't do stuff, and if you think you can't do something, then you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as soon as you don't believe you can do something, of course you can't. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Not to sound Tony Robbins or anything, but that's totally true. Half being great at something is believing you can be.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And
then also not giving up through the shit times when you are terrible, and just realize I'm going to keep working until I get there.
And then when you're done, you've got this like awesome bespoke thing, like Ex Aegis' debut album that everyone should be listening to, right?
I'm sure it already has, but spread the word, man.
That's right. So that's the difference, right? So with
some have referred to it as the greatest piece of art that's existed in the 21st century.
Wholeheartedly agree.
I've heard people talking that way.
Yes, and I mean if people of ill repute were to listen to it, their faces would melt off like Indiana Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like the Nazis opening the Ark of the Covenant.
The Ark of the Covenant, right?
Some things are just not meant for mortal eyes.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
or ears.
So noodles or E equals MC squared, like all of that stuff like would have been discovered anyway, right?
Yeah.
But like Ex Aegis only exists because of you and me.
Yeah.
Like without you or me, it never would have come into existence in our imagination, right?
And also our entire history of playing and influences and stuff like that. All those things are like a big bouillabaisse that's just all thrown in there and it's all mixed together. You know
Absolutely. Yeah, with like extra like beef tallow and some bone marrow.
On your side, on my side, it's going to have to be like vegetable broth and tofu. So we'll keep it separate. We'll have like
Sorry, I don't know why I've gone so carnivorous on you today. It must be the lamb.
Don't go carnivorous on me. Oh my God.
It must be the lamb. So after the spotlight, our very successful spotlight meeting last night, I treated myself to some lamb chops.
Just on the street, they're just laying down there like, oh my god, lamb chop.
Dude, it was just a bunch of these like sock puppets, lamb chop, and so like high in fiber.
Talk about like a deep cut, man.
I know,
What
man.
you're talking about?
I had to go ventriloquism.
People
on
of a
that
certain
ass.
age will know what that is. Yeah,
They will. What was the name of the woman who did lamb chop? It was Sherry something and lamb chop.
Creepy. She creeped me out when I was a kid. I remember she struck me as kind of a little.
She did?
Yeah, she creeped me out. She was a little creepy. I can't remember.
It wasn't the talking puppet on her hand that creeped
also
you out.
creeped me out. But
it was in fact the old lady.
I've always been a little anti-ventriloquism.
It was the elderly lady with her hand up the lamb's ass.
I was like, what's happening? No, keep her away. She's strange. I don't know.
So yeah.
Sorry, ventriloquist, you're a real artist. Speaking of that, like, here's the thing that kind of I was percolating as I was thinking about the things we talked about before, and I've been looking at like I mean, you go on like YouTube right now, and there's in like the film, there's like so much AI slop that's going on there. People will prompt say, "Hey, I want to have this Star Wars character meet Superman," and then they'll blah 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 blah, and they'll have AI will like create the scene.
Okay,
like
but I've got to say that there's some AI Star Wars stuff, which to be fair, it's based off of. There's some like comic book series that detailed like the days like right after. Like Anakin Skywalker was turned into Darth Vader and stuff. Like there's some stuff that is far more compelling than any of the garbage that Disney has given us, or really anything other than the untouched, un-CG'd original 3 films has offered. I would rather watch some of the AI slop. It's better.
That is a personal preference on your part. But
like
that being said, this is not created by somebody who sat there and filmed this and like wrote this. This is something the AI created.
Yeah, well, the visuals.
But
yes.
That's just an example. There's many other examples.
Well, and again, the source that they're using for the Star Wars stuff, there's actual like other I don't want to say canon.
We're getting hung up on the Star Wars thing, but that's an example of a general trend. You'll see a lot of this happening, like Lord of the Rings. You name any name.
So there's one where Darth Vader is like actually like having his like it shows like cutting off like the burnt flesh and shit, like his whole routine. Like, when the helmet descends and you catch that in Empire Strikes Back and stuff, it goes through like the whole routine of him getting like suited up and how painful it is and like his fucking voice box. It's like, dude, it's fucking like, it's almost body horror.
Okay.
It's part of what Star Wars has needed, and there are no children.
The Cronenberg Star Wars.
There's no baby Leia. There's no stupid fucking Grogu. There's no pandering to the diaper crowd.
Thanks for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Now back to the show.
And it is so great.
We're getting a little off
It's
track.
so good.
So the point I'm trying to make, though, is
there's
that in the visual memes, there's the famous thing that they had Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fighting on a rooftop.
Oh, yeah, I'm not interested in that.
I know you're not interested in that, but I'm just saying that that's the world we're living in, and people think that is their own art. They think they're creating something by prompting AI. Same thing with the cover band you're talking about, whose AIs that I don't think that people understand what it is to actually create art anymore. I think that they genuinely think they're creating art when they put an AI prompt in.
It'd be like tracing a cartoon and then telling someone you drew a cartoon.
No, it's more like having a robot trace a cartoon. And then
right.
That's what it's more like.
Yeah, it's like having AutoPen trace the cartoon.
And then saying that's my artwork I just made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing that's ridiculous. And then in the visual arts, I know for sure that because my daughter's an artist.
Yeah.
Like that there's people who are not paying artists to paint anymore. They'll just put a prompt in the AI, they'll kick something out, and then that's their artwork. You know
yeah, dude, AI. In fact, when we were at Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights, Terrifier.
Why would you do that? What appeal does that have?
It should be all year round. It should be happening now. Yeah, I don't know why there aren't like haunted houses open all year long. Like,
I'm sure there are somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe that's I don't know. Maybe that's a marketable thing.
Yeah, probably. They have rage rooms and stuff. I can see that.
Yeah, just a year long. Like I'm gonna have to look into that. So anyway,
if not, it's a very good business opportunity. Maybe go see if there's an IPO that you can get on or something. You know what I mean? It's
So one of the haunted houses was based on the Terrifier film franchise with like Art the Murderous Clown, right?
Of course, because it's a clown. I mean,
right, and he murders you and stuff, right? Like he does a lot of murdering.
That's part of the clown culture.
Yeah, dude. He had someone like split in half with a chainsaw inside the so the inside the Terrifier house is great, but like the artwork out. So you would think that like the artwork on the front of the Terrifier house would have like Art the Clown featured or something. No, it was just kind of like a generic, like, you know, hooded skull druid guy. There was some shit. The art was clearly AI art. They just generated it via AI and just painted the like front fascia of the house with that. It was obviously AI.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And
That
people
sucks.
nowadays are thinking like, oh, that's a legitimate option. That's something they should do. And what that completely shows to me, and this is something that society has been showing us for like 30 years now, 40 years, is that no one values the process of art. They see the end result. That's all they care about. They don't understand like all the, like if you look at like Van Gogh or Monet or take any artist, Da Vinci even, and think about what it is that their life experience went into how they created that art, like what it looks like, the way that their brushstrokes work, the way that what they mean by the colors.
Yes.
Like I think there's art and pain and history and like a person's like soul in that. You know, AI doesn't have any of that.
Nope.
And it's one of those things that, but I think the thing that I find most heartbreaking about, and same thing like with even like the Tom Cruise fighting Brad Pitt thing, it's like, people who do action movies or action scenes are artists too. They understand blocking,
Absolutely.
and lighting, and stunt performance, and where camera angles go, and where and the editing, the cutting, and all that kind of stuff. So they're basically just saying, "Well, it doesn't matter. You know, this AI will do it's fine. It doesn't matter." So to me, that just shows you how little like art, if any form, is valued in general society. They kind of look at that.
Yeah, it's commoditization, right? And there's
it's like Pepsi. If you had a machine that just kicked out Pepsi and you didn't have to worry about ingredients or like people working in the factories, they could just do it by automation. They would do it tomorrow because they don't value the human input at all.
I'm sure most of that is like, isn't it? I thought the way that soda worked was like they make. I think Coca-Cola does this because we used to have the Coca-Cola plant here in Sacramento, right over by like UC Davis Medical Center.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so
like the Blue Diamond factory we also used to have right in Sacramento too.
And that's gone now too.
It's gone now. Yep.
Ah, shit, man. Dude, like, where will kids take field trips now? You know, so I think they ship the syrup to the bottling plant, and then the bottling plant is the one that adds the syrup to the carbonated water that bottles it.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's been automated already to a huge degree. But there's still you have to still have people who work in the farms to keep the cane sugar and the corn syrup and stuff. That's got to happen. There's
to make the high fructose corn syrup. There's
the element of humanity, and then to get trucking it to the place. You know, the people who work at the bottle factory who actually have to load it on the trucks.
Businesses need inputs.
Yeah, exactly. But as soon as they have AI and robots that are able to do that, those jobs are gone. Like, so basically, if you look at it from a capitalist standpoint, like at the top of the heap, people running the companies, there's no advantage to any kind of human capital whatsoever. You and I as musicians, human capital. You know, if we're artists, like we're painting, you're human capital. So they're basically just trying to eliminate all human capital so they can have everything AI. And as soon as physical AI, which we're working on at the moment.
Oh, yeah, dude, the Optimus robots on the way, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that's going to be any kind of job that's a labor job is going to get replaced within the next 20 years with that job, you know, with that thing, because they can pay it nothing. They just have to pay for the handful of technicians to keep these things up. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before, but like musicians are the tip of the spear of exploitation.
Exactly. Well, because they know we're going to do music no matter what, or we're going to act, we're going to be comedians, we're going to paint. You know, they know that that's something we have in our soul that we must do to be full humans.
Well, actually, I don't have a soul.
Okay,
but
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whatever the place your soul, whatever the place your soul would be. Let's put it that way. The thing that's the core of your personality. Let's put it that way. That is going to be like, as artists, we have to create art. That's just something.
Well, no, totally. And you know, I think
they take advantage and have forever because they know we have to. So like, here's a penny,
and so
make something. You know, it's like,
you know, you brought up a really good point earlier about.
I know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, just that you mentioned like there's value in the process, right? And so as
people who aren't creative, who aren't artists, they don't understand the process is just as much a part as the end result.
So you know, we're kind of as Billy Corgan says, you know,
don't quote Billy Corgan.
I will. He's got a good podcast, man. Dude, of all the '90s bands, Smashing Pumpkins was all right.
Nah, they suck.
I mean,
they suck.
No, they didn't suck. They've got some good songs. No, they didn't.
Good songs does not mean they're a good band. You know
they were a good band.
No.
Yeah, they were.
I fucking hate Smashing Pumpkins,
dude. Smashing Pumpkins is just fine.
No.
Anyway.
I don't agree with that, but that's...
Dude,
it's okay, we don't have to agree.
Yeah, that's fine. They're you know, Smashing Pumpkins could have existed in the 80s.
Yeah, but they're so terrible, though, dude. I mean,
they're terrible.
There's no good musicianship.
They were not... Yeah, the musicianship's fine. It's just... Yeah.
Are you being real with me, dude?
Yeah, dude. I like Billy Corgan. I'll die on this hill.
Okay, you can die on that hill. I'm just saying.
And you know what? He grew up as like a metal kid too. You know, I don't
think
he
become like Mr. Whiny, like grunge pussy guy.
He's not whiny grunge pussy guy. He just has his voice is much more listenable than Eddie Vedder's.
I'm sure, but
like
that's like saying that like, real food is better than McDonald's. You know?
Yeah, well, right, yeah. No, I mean, like listening to the death rattle of my favorite pet is superior to listening to air pass over Eddie Vedder's vocal cords, right? But anyway, so
It's so deep though, man.
So he describes like musicians as being kind of like the priest or the shaman class in society.
No, is that what
I dig that, right? Because I mean, it's it's about their self-discovery in the artistic process.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep.
Right, and like, why would you?
Billy Corgan saying this, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because
So,
Eddie
like-
Vedder, that seems pretty deep for Eddie Vedder.
Oh no, I wouldn't. Like, yeah, no, I wouldn't listen to Eddie Vedder like say words or sentences. I just the dude just needs to never pass air over his vocal cords.
I think at some point that you will get your wish.
So, I think we're kind of the priest class or the shaman class, right?
It feels a little self-important to me to start saying that. I'll be honest with you.
I dig it. Yeah, well, I mean, because it's a vehicle for self-esteem. That's and I've said this on the podcast before, but that's why we invented art and culture to begin with.
I kind of see this more as like jesters / storytellers. That kind of thing. It's like
that's also art and culture. And I mean, really, we're all just trying to distract ourselves from our impending death.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. I mean, right. We're just trying to assuage death anxiety.
I don't think that art exists to assuage death anxiety. I think art exists to express human feelings. That's what it's for. It's about expressing things and connection. I think that at the end of the day, and I think also fulfilling
feelings like death anxiety.
I mean, that's not the only feeling people have, dude. So and there's songs that reflect on that too, and there's songs that reflect on all the joys of being alive. Being alive is a joyous thing. There's so many things that are like,
well, sometimes,
dude, every day above ground is a good day.
No, I agree. Look, I'm an optimist. I just but I mean, if I'm if I'm an Iranian protester getting gunned down in the street, like, that means I'm dead.
That's part of the human condition too. That has time and
if I'm starving in a third world country covered in fucking flies.
Yeah, so you can argue that claim about artists not getting paid
awesome,
a fair wage is probably a first world problem.
Totally, dude. Yeah,
for sure.
But anyway, I'm just saying, so people. Yeah, we're still distracting ourselves from the knowledge, from memento mori.
See, I don't think that those two things are mutually exclusive. You can be consciously aware that that's coming, but at the same time, it's still embrace life. That's the only option you have, is to embrace what you have and embrace the moment you're in, because that's the only thing you actually do.
Well, I agree. It's just
the past is gone. You can't touch it. The future hasn't happened yet. All you have is now.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Now and then all the
it really is. Which it's like it's
and art in general, like painting, music, movies, television,
and
all that stuff.
It's all rebellion too, because we're rebelling against our like ultimate demise, right? Our inevitable ceasing to exist. Okay, right? So we rebel against that.
That's not. I don't think it's rebelling against that. I think
by living,
it's accepting that, but then not giving up on the fact that I'm going to enjoy now. And that's it's not. There's no rebellion.
I'm making the case for active cynicism over here. Okay. So,
and I have never been in favor of any form of cynicism in my side. So,
well, active cynicism says like, yeah, I know that I'm just a monkey on a rock out in the middle of nowhere, and one day I'm going to cease to exist, but I'm going to choose to be happy anyway.
Well, that's just recognizing the reality of being alive.
Yes, right.
So,
and so
I don't necessarily cynicism involved in that.
That's the anyway.
Here's where I'm going with that though.
Parsing words.
Okay, so let's look at the future though. Like let's say if I was, you and I were 17 right now, and we're thinking, oh man, I just love music so much. This is what I want to do, or I want to be an actor, or I want to be a comedian, or I want to be an artist. How can we talk to those people and say, yeah, you should follow your passions, knowing that that we're moving in, to a future where we already live in the society where art is not valued at all anyway. And then, is there a reason for someone who's young to throw it? Other than you have no other option, you have to do it. You know what I mean? What would you say to that? Like I said, hey, and I want nothing more than to just be a musician with my life, or I want to be an actor, or that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I can't speak to the actor part, but like for a musician, I mean, for a musician. I mean,
I'm just trying to expand it beyond just the musicians.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, but there's a whole industry. Right, so you can find your place in the industry, and you have to develop other skills too, right?
You're not the music industry, right?
Yeah. So I got into teaching in part because I have sales experience and sales skills.
Yeah.
So that requires sharing enthusiasm and communicating ideas, and I mean that's
being a pleasant human being too.
Right. You've got to be a good hang for a half hour a week at least.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So you're going to have to develop skills beyond just being a good guitar player. Yeah.
Understanding music theory and chops and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to have that too. So, and then that's the difference between a good teacher, an okay teacher, and a great teacher is that, the great teachers have all those tools.
Yeah.
The great,
and you have to legitimately care about your students too.
Yep.
Right. Like if I,
you can't
know,
be
if I were
annoyed by their presence.
Right. Like if you're like a selfish teenager, as many teenagers are, then you're probably not going to be a very good teacher because, you're too focused on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. How
right.
great you are. That's not cool I am. Look at my band.
Or too obsessed with your own insecurities. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So,
but there's not, that's outside the Guitar Center and the, what's the school of rock
we need to go back and bleep that out.
I'm just saying, like, there's not many teenagers being hired to be
School of Schlock
teachers. You know what I mean? School of Schlock and Guitar Center. That's where they hire like 16-year-olds and say you can be a teacher.
Yeah, that's where they will just go over to In-N-Out Burger and just take any schlub.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Literally. There's like, you play guitar? Okay, cool. You can teach her. There's no, like, so this, you guys know
you own a guitar, want to teach?
Any parents out there who are thinking about taking their kids to one of those establishments to get lessons, just that's what you're getting. Is whatever warm body they can herd into.
So don't be a bad parent.
Yeah. Make sure you go to a place that has real quality instructors who actually know what the hell they're talking about. Over the age of 18, by the way, too. That'd be nice.
Serious.
I was just barely older than that when I started teaching. But I also just graduated from music school, too. So it's one of those things where
you had a credential.
Exactly. So I could like, oh, here you go. But anyway, didn't have the experience at that point. But how it's, I guess the thing I would say, and I'm curious about your opinion on this too, is that, like, if you're an artist and it's in your heart, like you want to, like my daughter's a visual artist and she wants to do an animation and character design for a living, that kind of thing. I can't tell her don't follow your dream. That you have to do that. You have to go down that path. I would never want someone to settle on a future that is not what is in their heart because they're scared of what AI is going to be. Yeah, because no one can say with any kind of definitive,
with any certainty,
this is definitely what's going to happen. Nobody knows. Not even companies like Anthropic, they don't even know.
I mean, let's go to like the total extreme, and like we end up in a reality where it's like Star Trek, and I mean there's no money anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because technology, you can replicate whatever you need to eat. Yeah. You've got a holodeck if you want to go on vacation, right? So mankind you just pursue your own personal growth. That's just what mankind does. And that's why they built spaceships to go out and explore the universe and all that, right? So, I mean, there's a very optimistic Star Trek-y future where
that's the best case scenario. Yeah.
It's the best case scenario. So there just isn't money anymore.
Yeah. Isn't there an opportunity for us to become pets of AI at that point? You know what I mean? Like, that we're just basically.
Now, I think what's more likely is that, like, right now through AI and robotics, like the next, it's not exactly human evolution. Like we're gonna create a new life form.
Yeah.
Like we're both creating God and becoming God.
Yeah.
And so, if there's going to be, let me flip it. Let me invert it, right? So
is it like a second inversion?
Who knows?
Are you putting the fifth in the bass right now, Ryan? Oh, my God.
No, dude. Okay. I'm putting the seventh in the bass.
Oh, my God. Tension.
Fourth inversion. Yeah. Anyway, putting the minor seven in the bass. The major seven would sound like gas there, but.
Depends.
So.
G of F sharp to E minor is not a bad change.
Well, yeah. Yeah. How you yeah.
Just saying. Sorry, I got you off track.
Yeah, I was gonna rebut, but anyway, so like if an alien species did like descend onto planet Earth, like I think they'd be synthetics because then as immortals they could survive the trip from point A to point B, which is so vast.
Yeah, like that's the biggest challenge people don't get about, like when it comes to why aren't aliens visiting us? Like because let's say the closest alien civilization is at Proxima Centauri, right? That's the closest star system to us. Let's say, and they have approximate technology that we have in terms of space travel.
Right,
they would not have time to get here.
They wouldn't. Yeah,
even if they left the moment the humans existed, they left. Then they would still not be able to arrive at time.
Yeah, like humans have a bad habit of still thinking that they're like the center of creation or universe or the universe, right?
Anthropocentrism.
Yes, that's right, exactly, and that's a total fallacy, right? Like, I mean, in the scale of the universe,
you said phallus.
In the scale of the universe, none of our phalli matter.
Are they impotent?
There's grains of sand, our phalli. So
pretty our phalli out to the universe.
Right. Yes. So now the question is, will our robot overlords have phalluses?
Probably, especially the sex robot overlords that will create probably next.
That's probably how we'll do. Yes, that's how they'll be created initially. But Yeah. Anyway, so basically, we're just creating our own robot overlords, and then eventually they won't need us, and so we'll just go extinct.
Maybe we'll be lucky and we can use his batteries or something. Yeah, I've heard that worked out pretty good.
It worked out for Keanu Reeves. He gave him a film career. Being a battery. Yeah.
We wouldn't have John Wick had not that happened. So. I think everyone knows that was the best possible solution that would happen there. No, I mean, I don't think anybody can say with any definitive answer, this is what it's going to be. Like, who knows? Even the people at the forefront of AI and the forefront of robotics. Look, I know for sure that capitalism is amoral. They don't have any kind of idea. It's just money, and it's only money for whoever can be at the top. They don't care about anybody in the middle or the bottom. They just only care about that. So there's a capacity to cut out all human capital and have it be all profits and almost no overhead. That's going to happen.
So, I mean, we're pretty much headed for like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tyrell Corporation at this giant brutalist pyramid.
Yeah. Or maybe there's like 5 corporations that run everything in the entire planet. You know what I mean?
And then you know what? All the people at the very bottom will be creating folk tales and inventing religion and creating art.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And like creating music and stuff. Why? Because they'll be living in an alley, right? Trying to grow, replicant eyeballs and stuff, and like trying to create replicant animals because all animals have been extinct.
Yeah.
And like they'll just be living their lives, right? Because like they were born into a world and need to distract themselves from their impending death.
Yep. That being said,
they'll create art.
The people at the very top, though, are going to be living essentially like in Elysium. Elysium is a good example of what I think that's going to be. There's going to be like, they're going to solve aging. They're going to solve
Jodie
death.
Foster will be in orbit.
Yeah, exactly. With all the super ultra 1% rich people, this all up there doing, kind of looking, those poor bastards down on Earth. Oh,
yep. It's Tyrell Corporation.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah, same principle. Or I like your Star Trek idea better. That's a good one. Like everyone's just equal. Like a class goes away, money goes away. Everyone's just becomes one team humanity.
I think and that would require more. I think the strongest case for the Blade Runner future is that as we're seeing, mankind has not developed emotionally, in pace with technology,
that's
right?
A good point. Yep.
Technology has outpaced the emotional development of mankind.
Well, there's actually a scientific principle that people, a lot of scientists kind of have floated around that say like the reason that we haven't found alien life is perhaps in the time it takes for alien life to become technologically advanced, they kill themselves so fast that's why we've never found them.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So whenever someone reaches whatever they are, that's maybe why we've never found technologically advanced aliens. We just can't stay alive long enough after a certain threshold of technological advancement.
Yep.
Yeah, which is possible, I would say. Makes our world of like, okay, why aren't artists getting paid a little bit more sort of, it's weird. Like it's a strange thing being born when we were born, because we're like especially our generation, because we were born like at the very tail end of the 20th century.
Well, we were born into an analog world and we watched it flip over to being digital.
Exactly. So like for us, we are the only generation that really has memories of feet and being both places, because we grew up with technology, but we also were raised, our early adulthood and late teenagers was with the technology, but like before that we grew up analog, like someone in the 60s or 70s.
I grew up with a rotary telephone, and now I've got an iPhone.
Exactly. We're like the only generation who Gen X, by the way, if you're wondering, who have that experience where we kind of, but by our early 20s, we had the internet and we had technology starting to advance. That was becoming a thing that was part of our lives in our 20s. But we grew up like someone in the 60s or 50s would have, and to a large degree. You know what I mean? So we had like a foot in each world. Yeah. Whereas someone who's like 10 years younger than us, they probably didn't grow up as much like we did. More so than like the people who are the Gen Zs now. But like, much more the technological, everything's kind of integrated. And then the Gen Zers is crazy. Like they're already like cyborgs in the sense that they really can't function without their technology. You know what I mean? It's crazy how that works. For us, we kind of we remember the analog world.
Well, they're all, I mean, like, there's a lot of, it's addiction. Yeah. They all grew up addicted to the Black Mirror.
And that's not an accident.
It's not healthy.
It's not an accident.
No, it's not an accident at all. No,
it's completely, that's a business plan is what that is.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
absolutely.
Because, corporations are always perfect and the invisible hand will solve all of our problems, right? And
I'm glad, I'm glad that they, are individuals thanks to Citizens United. That's good. Good job, Supreme Court.
Yep. Never let us down before. Never have, right?
Fucking shills. Anyway.
I can't imagine there's any court cases you could quote that they've ever let us down in the past.
Right. I know, never. Right.
Perfect, just perfect human, wisdom right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, I would tell people who are young people who are wanting to be artists, even in the face of what the existential threat that AI is, and that's just for musicians and artists, but for everybody.
Oh, white collar jobs are gonna, yeah.
As soon as robots can be AI, then also all blue collar jobs are gonna go on too. You know what I mean? It's
well, actually, blue collar jobs, like, I mean, like you'd have to have.
They'll go later than white collar jobs.
Yeah, so you're gonna have like you'll have a plumber longer than you're going to have, someone running TPS reports in a cubicle, right?
Exactly. Those are the first ones and they're already going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The cubicle worker goes before the plumber does, or
that's going to take robotics
or the electrician,
and a large amount of cash outlay.
The construction worker.
Yeah, a lot of large cash outlay from whatever company for that initial bit of robots. But once they have that, it's just maintenance. It's almost like running a gym or something. Like the gym is just the initial outlay of money, but then it's just maintenance from that point.
Right. RMR, recurring monthly revenue.
Yeah. So what's going to happen with construction jobs and plumbing jobs or whatever? It's just eventually they're going to have the robots be, so perfectly.
Eventually, but I think we're
that's like 30 years from now.
Yeah.
The white collar ones are going to be within the next 5-10 years.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but all jobs eventually.
Then those white collar assholes are going to start a band and go out and play in the clubs.
And they talk about how they fired their keyboard players.
Yeah, right.
And stuff. And, man, I had to fire my keyboard player. The guy wasn't paying me.
We hired another guy. You didn't hire anybody.
I was getting him a pack of Trident every week, and I just had to cut him down to half a pack of Trident. And then I was like, yo, dude, we can't. This isn't going to work anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the Trident anymore.
Sorry, man. After the next backyard party for $50, we're gonna have to let you go.
$50? Oh my god!
I know,
dude.
Oh, I just want to go play.
Yeah. It's really a good future, other guys. Just keep plugging. Everyone keep going. It's not the end of the world. It's kind of the end of the world.
Well, so what's great is that I don't think either one of us we don't play guitar because we want recognition. I just love doing it.
I always look at myself as kind of like an artisan. You know what I mean? Or that sounds very self-important. What I'm trying to say, it's like I'm like
you put that tasty lick in the oven and then it bakes for 30 minutes.
Someone who's like a woodworker, let's say, who's a craftsman, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of, and I'm about like being as great a guitar player as I can, creating music.
It's like being like a sculptor. You want to sculpt awesome soundscapes.
But that's the important part, is that process. Like the recognition part is way less important. I don't care if I get tons of pats on the back for how great it was or whatever. I'm going to do it either way.
Right.
That's kind of the way I look at it. And then, that's a good thing I had that attitude, because there's not really a lot of like financial ways to really benefit from
self-validating. Well, and you know what? I love sharing that with other people. Yeah. And that is, that's worthy of earning a living.
Yep. Exactly. Well, you and I have a very unique skill set. It's going to be a very long time before AI comes from our jobs, because there's so much soft skills in what we do. And on top of just the knowledge, you probably feed an AI all the knowledge that we have, whether it be music, but they don't have the experience. And art is different than some other kind of things, because there's so many like different avenues you could go at. Every little spot you could go, there's a different place that the life experiences kind of taught you to go and taught you these different skills. The soft skills of like how to, because you and I have to like have anybody walk through our door and figure out a way to reach that person, to teach them that, and entertain them at the same time.
Yeah, to make a personal connection, right? And so like, you've got like someone has to make themselves vulnerable to receive the knowledge and the experience you're trying to share.
The Turing test for us would be really high.
Yeah, dude, well put.
I mean, that would be something that's going to take a while for AI to get there.
Yeah.
But like AI, they can say, "Hi, can I help you? I'm sorry, I didn't get that." But say that one more time. That's AI's happening.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Well, that's just when you're getting murdered by a robot.
Right.
But I mean,
which is, again, as just to reiterate, that's happening to everyone.
Yep. It's true. I mean, at some point, Kubrick had it right.
I've been thinking about Kubrick a lot lately. I need to do like a run through some Kubrick films.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think like right now, Eyes Wide Shut is getting a lot of attention right now.
Why?
All the Epstein stuff and all,
like super rich, weird societies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. I'm just so shocked that like people with limitless resources would like be totally indulge,
evil,
totally indulge all of their worst impulses. I'm shocked.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought that
I know
a billionaire power broker running, the entire empire of the world would be amoral.
I can't believe there were Diddy parties.
What's funny is if you consider like the oh god, what do they call it? Prosperity gospel. Have you heard about this?
Oh god, yeah, that piece of shit minister. His name's Creflo Dollar.
Yeah. Oh my, no way. Really? That's his name?
His name's Creflo, CREFLO.
Couldn't have gone all the way and called Klepto Dollar. That'd be right on the nose, right?
Well, and people would still follow him.
Yeah, they would. People are lacking,
dude, thinking for yourself.
Thinking skills.
Yeah, thinking for yourself is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
a lot
God.
of-
I just go home and I crack open my Bud Light and listen to Luke Bryan. I don't have to think about nothing.
God.
That's
Yes, or Nate Smith.
Don't have to think about nothing. You
Dude,
know?
think about how many-
sunshine, sunburn.
So,
you know.
Again, I'm not better than anybody, but like I like me and my friends like grew up like reading philosophy and like really, so I know that my moral code, like I spent time like developing it, and and I have
trying on different moral philosophies and figuring out what suits you better.
Yeah, and I mean, like I'm not dogmatic about anything, but like I've really tried hard to develop like a reasonable, like comprehensive worldview.
Yeah, there's a certain kind of intellectual flexibility that's common to all highly intelligent people. That I call it that.
I don't even think I'm all that smart.
But here's what I would say though, is that there's also a lot of intellectual humility that's common to smart people too. Like if you're smart, then you're aware of how like much you don't know, how vast the chasm is. The chasm.
The gasm? What gasm, Scott?
How fast the chasm? What the chasm?
Wait, so the phallus, the phallus gasm?
When the phallus is thrusting into the void of space, the gasm is insane. It's insane.
Talking about the gasm rings of Saturn.
The chasm of
wait. So wait, is it Jupiter's a gasm giant?
It's a gasm giant. Exactly. That's what the big hole's there, right?
So that's what the eye is all about.
Exactly.
It's not a storm.
No, that's something that the proctologist needs to look into. Is what that is. There's a couple of too many.
The galactic proctologist. That's
exactly.
yeah.
Oh my God. So
I've never heard a more artful description of the God concept. The galactic proctologist.
The point I'm trying to make is that the smarter you are, the more glaringly aware you are of the things you don't know.
The more you know, the
things
more
are infinitely more complicated and interesting than you can possibly imagine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like,
absolutely.
It's like, and that's a terrifying concept. The unknowing. I think that's something I've always found so strange about humanity is like the I don't know. Like how hard is it to say I don't know or to go and try and learn more?
It's tough, and I mean, like the majority of people don't do that.
No, of course not, because they want to just like feel like everything's simple. Everything's a simple solution, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I get it. It makes you feel warm and safe, that everything's simple. You know
it assuages your death anxiety.
To a degree, because you're going to go live with Jesus in heaven forever. So,
right.
So that makes,
The galactic proctologist.
Exactly. And he's like, okay. He's like, wait, what's with the rubber gloves, Jesus? No, don't you worry about that.
Those aren't rubber.
Snap.
They're actually lambskin gloves.
Is it lambskin?
Yeah, like 2 centuries ago they were,
Yeah, okay. Well,
probably lambskin.
Because, wait, you tell me the time of the Bible they didn't understand what rubber was?
I don't think they understood what prophylactics
But they had the
were.
perfect word of God, though. How did they not know then that rubber and nylon and vinyl were a thing? You would think the people who have access to the mind of God would know about that.
Right.
But, but I guess it's just a mystery. We'll never know.
I just space age polymers would just be Prometheus fire.
I guess so.
It's
knowledge.
too much.
You're not asking.
Right.
Yeah, you're not meant to know this. You know what I mean? Exactly. Or about frankly anything.
Yeah, or literally anything.
Sanitation, don't know.
No.
The perfect word of God did not know what sanitation was.
Oh man, people would have smelled so bad.
Oh my God,
then.
they did.
Holy
and
shit.
forever. I don't care how much perfume you put on. My God.
Dude, can you imagine the funk?
I can totally imagine the funk from the 60s though. Hell yeah, dude. But that's the good.
Well, the 70s.
60s and 70s. Like there's a lot of that stuff that soul started in late 60s and then the 70s.
Yeah, but like actual funk, like on the one like James Brown funk.
Sure.
That's like a 70s thing.
It started. The seeds were in the 60s.
Well, yes, definitely. Yeah. So anyway,
I'm just trying to give credit to where credit's due.
Cheers to it. To Soul Brother number 1.
Damn straight. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for today on the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. If you want to know more information about Ryan and I, please visit our website at xagesband.com.
That's www.exagesband.com.
There you'll find links to our social media, so please make sure to follow us on social media as well to get all the updates on what's going on with this band, this podcast, and all that kind of good stuff. And please go listen to the X Ages album, which is actually any place you get digital music. And tell your friends to subscribe to this podcast. It's the greatest thing they could probably ever do or aspire to, I think.
Right.
I feel safe saying that.
Yeah, but don't let them know that it's going to be their greatest moment.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be bummed out when they realize it's all downhill.
They may never actually listen then, because I don't want my greatest moment to come and go.
Just make sure to be there for them.
Exactly.
After they reach the zenith.
Everybody always feels very emotional after listening to the first episode of the podcast. They don't know how to handle the way that the mind's been blown.
Right.
The gasm is amazing.
So enjoy the mind gasm. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Peace.